During some missions in the Grand Theft Auto series, and the events that follow them, we can have a good mind F in our heads. Sometimes things don't stick very well, like how much money did Tommy owe Sonny in the end? Once, Tommy mentions 20 million, and a moment later, it's only 3 million.
Ken, you get the first run of counterfeit cash and put
20 million briefcases.
Another interesting situation is the killing of Miguel in GTA Liberty City Stories, which takes place in 1998. The case would not be anything special if it weren't for the fact that we also meet Miguel in GTA 3, which takes place in 2001. Well, since both games belong to the same universe, the events between these games should, after all, merge into one whole, and here we are witnessing a kind of resurrection of one of the most important characters. Or let's take Mr. Black's threat as an example. Even though Mr. Black set up the whole drug deal and hired the hitmen responsible for it, it turns out that even late in the storyline of the game, he still doesn't realize that one of the hitmen is already dead, which we find out, among other things, by completing the mission called Checkout at the check-in.
Time to fry bigger fish, Mr. Teal. There's a rifle and the foliage to your right.
It's just that Mr. Black still thinks that Mr. Teal, who has already died during the mission Back Alley Brawl, performs the tasks, while in reality, it's Tommy Vercetti. Given who Mr. Black is, it seems unlikely that he still doesn't know what happened to Leo Teal after all this time. And yet another situation that can make us feel that we just don't understand something is the case of a psychopath from GTA Vice City who constantly stalks the Love Fist band. Therefore, in this episode, we would like to discuss this particular character, while also answering one of the questions we asked in the episode dedicated to some plot holes in GTA Vice City. Namely, whether the stalker of Love Fist from GTA Vice City survived the attack by Tommy Vercetti or not, and if not, how to explain this situation. As we said earlier, the whole threat of a psychopath or a Love Fist band is not very extensive in general. Tommy Vercetti, due to the big trouble after the deal went wrong at the docks, met Kent Paul, who took the temporary position of manager of the band, thanks to which the main character could help the rockstars a little. The story of the stalker appears only until the second quest given by Love Fist, which is called Psycho Killer. It turns out that the Love Fist is in fear of a certain stalker who regularly tries to carry out attacks on their lives. Trying to get to the bottom of it, the first thing that should be considered in the analysis comes up in one of Jez Torrance lines when he says the following line.
Aye, I'm not joking again. It's heavy stuff, man. Heavy, gan.
This cat, we hardly know him, but he knows us.
That's right, we hardly know him. This particular quote tells us that the stalker is known to Love Fist to some extent. It can therefore be concluded that he would be a bodyguard, roadie, some kind of sound engineer, or just a big fan of the band. We simply mean that it would be difficult for a stalker to get such controversial information about the various tastes of the band members, so he had to be close to them in some way. After all, these are not things that men boasted about in the media during interviews, for example. Besides, Jez Torrance himself mentions that the stalker knows suspiciously much about Love Fist.
So about us, knows that Willie likes his ladies' underwear, eh? Or that Percy likes
Shut up, you fool. Just get Jez bomb chic. It's a love rocket thing, can?
Shut yeah, a love rocket thing, right? But listen, this cat.
The guy wants Love Fist dead.
What's more, we also know from the stalker's statement that Love Fist ruined his life. This also suggests to us that this person must have been close to the band in some way. Who knows? Maybe the stalker once worked for Love Fist, devoted himself fully to it, and devoted his whole life to work for the band, and then, for example, was fired, thus losing something infernally valuable in his life. There are many theories, so there's no point in guessing. But we do not hide that we will be happy to read yours and write your guesses in the comments. Moving on, it was Tommy Vercetti who was asked to get the stalker, and he did. Vercetti had many different ways to lay him out once and for all. However, not long after that, we received the final mission from Love Fist called Publicity Tour, and we're getting confused yet again. All of a sudden, we learn that the psychopath allegedly survived and continues to threaten the Love Fist band. So the men insist, out of fear for their safety, that we chauffeur the band on the way to the concert. The men's suspicions about the return of the psychopath quickly turn out to be not at all wrong, as moments after the end of the cutscene, the members find a tape recording.
Love Fist, your time polluting the airwaves is over. I gave you the chance to be friends, but now I'm giving you the chance to die. You try and slow down, your limousine will explode, along with your big airy asses.
Well, this is where many question marks arise. Namely, is this the same psychopath? And thus, how did he survive the attempt on his life in the Psycho Killer mission? Or maybe it's one of his accomplices who wanted to finish the job after the stalker's death. Or yet another option, which is that perhaps the psychopath prepared this trap long before his death. Well, unfortunately, in the game itself, we will not find anything that would help us answer these puzzles. First, the voice we hear in the recording does not match the one we hear during the Psycho Killer. Although here, what is important in the context of the final solution to the puzzle, it should be taken into account that the voice could have been modulated. However, this is the last mission for this band, so the further fate of the Stalker remains unknown to us, and the thread itself simply ends. And when some people might have thought that there is no point in figuring it out, especially since solving this puzzle is hellishly difficult, suddenly GTA the Trilogy, the Defective Edition, comes to our aid. Just like in a few other episodes on our channel, Defective Edition once again contributed to solving another mystery. Namely, one more task was originally planned for the band. Unfortunately, looking through the script of this mission, we can see that the task looks unfinished and was quickly abandoned by the developers. What can we say about the walkthrough of the mission itself? Tommy Vercetti was supposed to meet Kent Paul there, who would probably inform him that the psychopath would try to kill the Love Fist members as they will be leaving the building. We can only guess because the script preserves the lines regarding the place where the stalker will appear and the messages from the game. Anyway, the man will be waiting with a baseball bat, and we're supposed to take him out once and for all. And for all this, we would supposedly get $1,000 by looking at the mission script again. As we mentioned earlier, the task seems to be trivial, which was probably the reason why it was abandoned. Nevertheless, we do regret this a bit because this short mission showed that the psychopath survived Tommy's assassination attempt in the mission Psycho Killer, and the events we witness after this mission was indeed his doing. However, because this is a conclusion based on beta content, there's another big question mark. If the mission appeared in the final game, wouldn't the Psycho Killer quest be created in such a way that the survival of the Stalker would be possible? Because at this moment, we may think that, okay, cool, the Stalker survived. But at the same time, it is a bit pointless because in the Psycho Killer mission, we could even hit the psychopath with a rocket launcher, then burn him and finally run over him with a tank, making his survival completely impossible. Anyway, summarizing today's episode in a nutshell, we think that the psychopath thread was made by the creators a bit imprecisely. Rockstar North did not make enough effort to specify every detail, as a consequence, leaving such big question marks in the players' heads. Be sure to take a look at the video dedicated to Colonel Cortez, in which, as well as in today's episode, there are many question marks, but in the context of Tommy and Cortez's friendship. In the meantime, take care and see you soon.